Well, AJ, you've been doing this long enough that starting Winter Series at Orlando probably feels a little bit weird. Talk to me about, though, what it's like to start another year, and what's the feeling like at this point in your career of racing, being a part of Magic. Even that's been a couple of years now where it probably feels almost like a warm blanket or comfortable, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I date all the way back till Rotax days where we did come out to Orlando every winter. But yeah, in the past, I don't race here much, and I haven't raced here in the past couple of years. Magic and me, this has not been our best friend. I got a brake failure one year, and the next year was just last year. It was just the worst race of my career, I think, in the shifter kart. But no, working together with the Magic guys over the year, it's been fun. I mean, it's like family. We started as a family, and now it's just getting bigger and bigger, and we have some new parts this weekend that we're working on, and it's always cool to develop it and try and get to the front.
Now, you're different than I think a lot of the guys that you end up running against at the front of the pro shifter field regularly nowadays, and even when you go over and run in the front of the single speed field, whether it's people that are cars bound or hopeful cars bound, full-time go-karters working in the industry as a coach or driver or hybrid of both.
Yeah.
You've got a full-time 9 to 5 and then still keep doing this. So have you ever gotten burnt out to the point where you're like, I'm not doing it again?
I'm getting old, but sadly it's not a 9 to 5, it's like a 6 to 4. But you just gotta do what you gotta do if you want to be able to come out here and enjoy and be able to race for as long as I can. I mean, it's still fun to come out here and compete. I mean, I don't practice maybe as much as Mateus. I'm out in the seat every day, but I know how to get around this place, and I know how to drive.
Now, you guys didn't end up really probably meeting all too much on track in Vegas, and then the previous time before that ended up pretty crazy. So how do you kind of describe, if you could explain to someone in as much or as little detail as you'd want, last season?
It was kind of a struggle, just never really, every time I was there, I mean, Mateus just edged me out just once or twice. Once was fair and square, and once wasn't, but no, I mean, it's great to race against the best of the best. I mean, he showed it when he goes to the Worlds, and he can come in second place. So to be able to come out here and hopefully beat him, that shows that what I can do. So it's great to have the best of the best here. And yeah, me and him didn't get along that great last year, but I know what to expect now. And I mean, just watching the last Winter Series, I mean, I watched him do the same move he did to me about 3-4 more times. It's getting pretty common. So you just know what to expect, and just got to race the people you're racing.
What are, between him and the rest of the front of the field, some of the qualities that you see of other guys that you wish you had a little more in your repertoire, or you feel like you're weaker because you don't get to drive as much? And what are maybe some strengths that you have that you feel like not everyone does that you're racing around?
I mean, anytime you're in the kart every day and that much more, I mean, you just get that feel better. Everything just starts, the weekend starts smoother. Everything, you're natural into it. It just starts fresh. I come into it and maybe I've driven like twice since Vegas. I mean, I got in the kart last week and just to get ready for this, but there's a difference between working out and going for a run and getting in shape and then karting shape. I mean, it's just completely different shape.
What do you think are, strengths or skills that you have specifically over maybe a standard really good driver that can run?
I mean, just the maturity and just like the understanding of like the engineering background and just trying to maximize that package. I mean, I never really give up trying to get faster. If I'm faster, I want to know how fast I was compared to them and then go faster. So it's just, just that knowledge.
What's so different about how you approach race weekends, or just how you feel about coming to the track at where you are in life, like right now, compared to 5 years ago, 10 years ago, when you were kind of just bursting onto the scene and seeing your initially first in Leopard and then over into shifter?
I think a lot more pressure you put on yourself early on, and the pressure early on, you're racing against guys that are new. You don't believe in yourself as much, and you just want to be the best. And then now you approach the weekends like, okay, I know what I can do, and let's just go have fun. Let's go win this thing, but let's go have fun.
Do you almost, does it suck fun out of it that you have higher expectations for yourself because you've gotten such a level of success over the years? Or
yeah, I mean, as Kart Chaser came along now, they weren't here in 2020. I mean, I just dominated through those years. I mean, the competition has really amped up over here with Mateus, Premer's coming over. So, I mean, I've had to step my game up just as much, but yeah.
Now, with both of those guys, you've had good battles where it's bled over, and you guys have obviously had a disagreement. For everyone that's watched the journey of both of your rivalries with Mateus and with Marian over the years, is there any other rivalry you look back over your career, whether it was you with another driver, good or bad, or someone that just you two ended up being the two guys fighting for a win for a long period of time.
Yeah, no, this is probably a common one. Just ZCD, he just gets on everyone's bad side. But other than that, over rivalry over the years, Danny Formal, me and him have gone back and forth, you know, but no hard, like, I'm gonna take you out. Like, no, no, none of that.
Because there's levels to it, right? You know, you have kind of what Joe and Ryan have, which is a bit obviously uneasy because they're competitive, and right now it's been lopsided in the win column, but it's never ended up in a crash or tears for either one of them. And then you have, like you said, you know, rivalries where there is a lot of bad blood between it. So
it comes down to that respect. And I mean, like with Kremers, I mean, when's the last time you saw me and Kremers crash?
Yeah.
It was that same season he came over. He drove the way he drives, and he learned how I drive. None of us really changed our driving style, but we just learned how to drive with each other and what to expect from each other and how to not butt heads with each other.
So that leads me to this. I think sometimes when Rob or I or anyone's watching, you know, a pro shifter race, for example, at Pro Tour, where there's a lot of guys that have been racing for a long period of time and know what to expect of each other, that it looks like you guys have an unspoken code of what's okay and what's not okay. Is there a couple common things that everyone agrees on and like how to handle it, or not really?
I think it's just the fact we race each other long enough. I mean, you date it back far enough. Formal's driven right over the top of me. Kyle Wick, he's taken me right out of the race. And I've probably done the same to them in their eyes. So, I mean, all of us have like gone through that cycle of like, screw you, no, screw you. Like, But at the end, we just kind of settle in and find that mutual respect that you have to have.
Right, like you almost have to come to terms that like, this guy's not going away.
He's gonna be there. Like, I'm gonna have to race him. Like, so you always want to have that mental edge on people, obviously. Like, keep your friends close, your enemies closer. But at the end of the day, you know who you race and race each one individually.
So what drives you now to push yourself to work the hours that you do to basically make it 6 a.m. to 4 and sometimes longer days, overnight, Sunday night to get back to the office on Monday? What drives you? Because you've won the Pro Tour Championship. You've won at every high level. Yeah, Vegas is obviously still an unticked column, but you've accomplished a lot.
The drive is just to win. I mean, I haven't won enough the past year. I mean, I'm getting beat. Magic Kart, we won every Pro Tour race there was to win, and last year, we didn't win a Pro Tour race. So it's more about the brand and putting them on top. Alongside myself, I want to win the races, but now watching Max Weil and these other guys on the brand, it's amazing to see the success they can have on a brand, and to see them win now is almost a better feeling than when you win.
And with Magic specifically, it kind of goes in line with what I was mentioning earlier, that, you know, your situations, they're different. You know, drivers like Marian or Mateus or, you know, Ryan over an X30 or Joe in X30 and Danny and Shifter, you know, their deals are team to team. And while they're loyal and respectful to those teams, it's not seemingly this deep bond that you and Andrew and Robbie have. I mean, has there ever been a point in the last couple of years, or do you ever foresee a point in the coming years that you would ever not be driving a Magic car?
I mean, if Magic left the building, then I guess maybe, but no. I mean, he's put it point blank. If I went to Burrell or something like that, he would punch me in the face. He would knock me out. So I mean, it's fair. I wouldn't do it. Yeah, no. I mean, it's family. I mean, I don't want to be at this race with other Italians, with other family. I don't want to have that. I want to have my family.
When did, you know, if you could pinpoint kind of a moment in time or a period in time when you guys went from being buddies or teammates or driving for them to really, you know, being family in the way that you guys describe it now?
I just started early just because when I joined the PCR with them back in the day, I mean, they'd won some races. Robbie had some success himself, and but they hadn't won USPS. We won USPS together, and then I kind of took them, and then they win that, and they let me go to Europe with that. So between that experience of working with them and working with the factory, we came close right away. And then kind of the only time it went downhill is when I left them. I mean, we didn't talk as much then, that's for sure. But in the end, I came back to where I belong.
How did the conversation come together for you to go and drive for them at the start when they were still doing PCR and as checkered motorsports?
I think I was just coming off of CRG, and I mean, it wasn't the best run of success. And then it was just like, that wasn't an option before, and it all made sense. I mean, why would I want to go somewhere else? I want to build with them.
Talk to me about that period where you did leave. Like, what was that conversation like? Is there stuff that you look back on that period when you did go away from the family that you wish you would have done things differently? Or
it's all kind of intertwined. I mean, there's like me and Andrew left Robbie, and we went and did this whole Mad Proc thing. We had this California guy. We were going out to California, racing all over, and so Robbie was out on that. Andrew and Robbie really are the ones that had like they're coming together a lot. But me, I was a mediator in between. Like, oh, he's not an asshole. No, he didn't mean that way. So yeah, me and Andrew did our thing, and then at the end of that, and then me and Andrew fighting for a championship on different brands, and really going to head with each other. And then after that, it just all lined up to come back together.
Now, again, going back to earlier, or going back to the fact that you've got a regular job, you have a day job, you went to college, got a degree. What did you ever do a gap year or anything? Did you ever consider trying to, whether it was this industry or another part of motorsport, put off school, or was the plan kind of always from a very younger age, like, look, we're going to race where we can, but we're going to, you know,
the goal was always to move on, but I mean, it was just, nowadays there's a lot more things going on for drivers to get selected for a program. Back in my day, there wasn't so much, and I just really just never got noticed, never got really the shot. I didn't have the money to go to cars, so then I ended up taking a semester off of college sophomore year, just to go and do the whole, go race in Europe. I learned Italian, did all that stuff, but as far as car racing, I mean, I got to do a test or two, and oh yeah, you're really good, let's put something together. And then I don't have 200K. So it just comes down to that. And some people get lucky, they meet the right people, and I just didn't get that.
You say you're getting older. You're not the oldest guy in the front pack in Pro Shifter. There's definitely a couple guys with a couple of years on you. You've got a couple of years on some of the guys that are becoming veterans in that class still now too. How long, or you know, what is AJ Myers doing in 3 or 5 years? Do you look that far ahead and go, I don't know?
It's a tough question you're asking now, Alexander. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not good at planning ahead. I see myself racing as long as it's fun and as long as we have this thing going on with us. I mean, we just started the whole Sauna USA, and even if I'm not driving every weekend, I'd want to be involved.
So you could see yourself probably still, even after, you know, you eventually maybe do hang it up from a super competitive
I don't know.
level.
I might have to take a break. You know, I can't end up like the people that just end up at the track their whole life. I gotta maybe have to take a breather.
Okay.
But I don't know. See life outside of karting, but no, it's fun here.
So talk about this year. I mean, what has been the little bit of break? I'm sure you end off Vegas, another good run, another bittersweet finale to Vegas where it just seems to bite you at first and then you end up showing good speed towards the end. So was there any kind of like, all right, let's change the game plan up this year? You mentioned obviously it was big that you didn't get to win a Pro Tour race. What's the last couple months have you guys been talking and been up to? I
mean, we have a new kart here we're trying out and just trying out several new things. I mean, 3 years ago, Burrell was really struggling. Now Burrell's good all over the world in the shifter. So they've upped their game, so we have to up our game to match. And hopefully we can do that. This track has notoriously been bad for me. And so today we weren't the fastest, and hopefully we can get better. But working through that and just work with the new kart, see if it's better. It's always tough with this track, but it always, dirt blows on the track, we're half second slower. So when you try new things, it's always tough to get that feel of what works, what doesn't work. But so far so good, and looking forward to see what new things can do. Outside of luck, is there something about this track that you feel like just doesn't gel with you? What makes you say it just? I don't think it's just a me thing. It's just like our kart didn't gel with this. Like when it gets hot and the dirt flows onto the track and it gets slippery, maybe it's just the other kart's softer or something. It doesn't suit us. So it pointed out our flaws. And then we got out of here last year, and then boom, right on pace. Every race we went to, I had the speed to win. It was just in the end, I missed it in a couple races, had some crashes, and it was really just this race last year that was honestly my worst race of the career. Now, I've gotten to ask Mateus and Joe this so far. Again, for someone like you, like them, that's been racing at a high level in the sport, nationally and globally, both before and now during our period here, and we've been around long enough. What's felt different to you, AJ Myers, personally? Has there been any difference in impact day to day? You know, anything you notice, and it's, you know, what's changed? Definitely more kids notice you and they come up to you like, oh, like, hey, like, I get a photo. Like, that definitely happens now, where that never used to happen. And other than that, I mean, when I want to race, no one knows. If you do this, like, no one remembers I had a run of success because no one documented it. Now you see this Joe Turney won all these races. Everyone knows, everyone sees it. You blast it over media. Oh, Joe Turney just won. Joe Turney won again. Norberg, can he beat him? So it's all blown up. So, I mean, I I mean, the part you have to get used to is the hate that comes with it, because all the fans that say, oh yeah, go AJ, there's just double of them, and they're saying like, oh, that kid don't know how to drive. So,
how do you deal with that? Has that ever really gotten under your skin at points when you end up in these heated rivalries, or even just when you end up winning races and you read the comments, or you get, messages or whatnot of not just people who like you, but people that really want to watch you lose?
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm better now. I mean, I definitely have gotten to me from time to time, but not anymore. I just stop caring. You stop caring.
Now, that said, you and I have talked at points where you're like, hey, you talk about Ryan being a 9-time national champ all the time, and I've gone back and tried to make sure that I let everyone know that you've got a lot of titles too. When you see those two guys, especially just because X30 now is racing more than Pro Shifter, and more especially with big fields, with not being in USPKS, with Stars only just now starting to see some of the other big hitters and big names join you. Does that light a fire under you at all? That like everyone else around, in the X30 class is heralding those guys as good, or maybe more so than what your accomplishments have been?
It's definitely annoying. I mean, part of it for me was like even just, I think 2022 or something. Like if I just showed up to Utah, if I just showed up for that round of the Pro Tour, I would have won the championship. But we didn't go to Utah. I swept the weekend here. Did good there, but I just had to show up. I just didn't do it. And that was the same case another year back in like 2016. Like I swept the weekend one time, did good when Supernats was part of the Pro Tour, but I didn't do the first round. And like I still got 5th in the championship. So there's a lot of those too, where it's just like those people don't see that. And then back in the Rotax and the Rock, I did a bunch of Rock shifter stuff, and that's where a lot of my championships came, but those don't count. Even though I'm racing the same guys I'm racing now in KZ, those don't count. But so I did most of that. So that was just semi-pro racing, and it got me to here. Okay.
For anyone that's doubted you or said that stuff doesn't count, I mean, what's your response when they come up to you and go, the Rock stuff doesn't matter or whatever? What do you say back to them?
I mean, back then we were pulling in 50 Rock shifters for the Florida Winter Tour. It was the same thing as just what you're racing. Now, if you look at Rock Cup, what they are now, if I go win that, yeah, sure. I'm not that, I don't count that, but I was racing all the best back then. Garrison even throwing in there too. He race shifter with us a little bit in the Rock shifter days. So yeah, we used to have stacked fields for the Winter Tour and shifter.
Now we've got stacked fields this year again.
Askew, all those guys that raced them and won the championship. I don't know about that. They raced. I don't remember if they raced all 3 rounds or not.
Yeah.
I mean, that's that. I'm racing.
You were in the group.
I'm racing the guys that made it.
What does it feel like to be kind of on the front of this renaissance? I've been meaning to get to Danny to ask this too, right? We go back 2 years ago. I brought you guys 2 on a virtual podcast that we did, and you called everyone out. And now, obviously maybe that's like 1%. There's been a lot of factors of why the field's grown over the years, but is it exciting, and does that kind of add to the drive to keep coming back to see the field getting better and better?
It's amazing to see the field get bigger, yeah. No, there was just this misconception. Someone spread a rumor years ago that shifter kart teaches you bad habits, when literally it's the best practice you could ever have before you go to a car. And now you see like the Antonellis, they do races. Alex Powell last year before he goes to car racing, Nakamura Berta.
Yeah.
They're racing KZ2 and winning world championships in that level, and then they jump up, where there was a misconception that was bad habits back then. So now a lot of these younger kids, like Martello last round, like he's doing a whole thing of cars. That's great. But he came here to get better in a shifter kart. He didn't want to go race KA to get better. He came to race a shifter kart if you want to get better.
Right, from the driver's seat, because like from the outside, especially usually it comes from people that don't race it a lot or look at it, is the mindset, or at least what I hear. Oh yeah, you don't have to worry about momentum or blowing a corner, because you just drop one down 1 more gear in a shifter kart.
Buddy, you miss a shift, you lost 2 karts. How you getting that back?
Yeah.
Like it's just exemplified. Like you get on the gas a split second late, well that's 3 karts because the acceleration he's gone. So it's just everything's magnified. You see that accordion effect more, like momentum, there's no draft, but it's a lot harder to drive.
Having been around and seen so much, is there anything that comes to mind about karting as an industry, as a sport, how it's run over here, how it's run over there in Europe and around the world, that you're like, man, it should be done this way, or this could be done this differently, or do you ever give any kind of thought to like that as to why this sport stayed roughly where it's been for many years of the same size?
It's tough. I mean, it's just like when people come to this and they see that all this money and all these big things, like sure, that might be attractive to a niche crowd, but that's not attractive. So that's to the average Joe. So I mean, that's why you see that little 206 blow up. But I mean, that's not real motorsports. It's fun racing. It's great to race that stuff, and it's a heck of a blast to drive sometimes. But real racing is that I want to be at the pinnacle, and that's where this is. But the average person looking in, it's intimidating. And how do you get to be Ryan Norberg, Joe Turney? Like, oh, they've been doing it since they're baby. How do I do that? But
I don't know. AJ Myers would make you king of karting in the U.S. What do? What's your first executive order you sign?
First executive order: we don't make qualifying 5 minutes. We make it 5 laps.
Okay.
First one off the top. I hate every time someone gets caught out. But karting as a general, how it's run. See, I'm on the side of like, everyone's been here for all months, for a whole month driving the same track. Like, I want to show up on a Friday and yeah, get practice in, but I don't like the whole 4 days of practice. I like what kind of Stars is doing in that with the 3-day shootout. The whole pro thing, I like that. I like the whole pro thing. I don't know, you put me on the spot on what I would change.
I mean, there's a lot to it, right? Like, from our end, the pro thing partly is trying to, at least for me,
separate, like, and elevate some
yeah, it elevates it. I think you can do some stuff to put an extra spotlight on it, and you build a race weekend format that if we do get, which, you know, I don't feel like realistically we're far from a TV contract, whether it's to run a replay of the main event for Pro Shifter the next week, or eventually something locally live, it doesn't have to adjust the race day then. You know, we've kind of already got something that could work, or...
Yeah, you see the stuff that's on these channels, like, who's watching this, but they don't watch this, and it's just, no one really knows what it is. You guys kind of bridge that gap a little bit to the general public, but still, there's no one randomly on a Sunday who plays football, going on YouTube. Your channel doesn't pop up. They're not going to find racing. They don't know what racing is, so there's 90% of America who just doesn't know what it is. So, a Super Bowl ad?
Maybe. I don't know. You're the one that's got the nice consistent paycheck. I'm over here buying this new light and these new cameras over here. Maybe you could pay for the spot, huh?
Man, I'm still trying to just do this for free, man. Come on. I ain't paying for this.
In all seriousness, what would it mean, and would it mean more now with Sony USA launching this year, along with everything you built up with Magic and the field of where it's at, to win, say, Pro Tour this year, or to finally get the monkey off your back to win Vegas? What would that be like?
I might just have to retire. If I swept the whole year, won every race this year, I mean, maybe. It's not impossible. I don't know. I haven't thought that far ahead, Xander. I told you that.
Okay.
But no, I mean, Vegas. Yeah, Vegas is the one that gets away every time, but we're fast every year, so every year we have a shot. This year, Pro Tour, I like it. The new tracks are not the same tracks. I've been to Speedfords. That's a great track for me, I think, in our kart. So I think we have some tracks that fit us, and I think we can win the Pro Tour, win the Vegas. That's put Magic back on top. That would mean the world.
Do you try? Have you considered trying to change your morning routine at Vegas? You know, because whatever it is obviously attracting the cartoon.
I've tried to drink. I've tried to not drink. I've tried to not think about the race and party, or maybe just not. And I stayed good, and then oh yeah, your chain just fell off, buddy. Sorry. All right, let me get a beer. But no, there's no change to it. You go into the race the same way. It's like I gotta get to the end and be here in position to win the race, and that's your mindset. Okay. The guy who won this year, Bazile, from 12th.
Yeah.
Morgado should have won the race. First lap, I had a heck of a start. I was on his bumper. We did see each other in that race. Okay. But he was just really fast. He got up a little further. But yeah, my speed was great, but that race, he was on another level. I don't know what they did.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, you seem like you're in a pretty cool, collected, fun spot. I'm sure this weekend's obviously a low-pressure test weekend. Yeah. You know, as a final question to the fans, I mean, why should they root for you guys this year? What would make someone, or if you were pitching yourself?
I mean, why are you going to root for the team that puts hundreds of thousands of dollars into like winning that race? Why are you not going to root for the guy that just showed up after work, put his kart together with his friends, came out, and won the race? That's the team you should root for, the Underdog.
Badass. Thanks, AJ.
I think I closed it nice.
That was good. That was a good pitch there, dude. That was slick.